So moving into the next part of our presentation tonight, we're going to introduce Scott Young to the webinar. Scott is an innovative third-generation prime lamb and grain farmer from Fernley Park in Ballon, Victoria. Scott embraces technology and is a passionate voice for the agricultural industry as president of the VFF Livestock Group. And Scott is here tonight to talk about how he is extending his use of eID for greater benefit for his business. So thank you very much for joining us, Scott. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, great to be on. Thanks for the opportunity, Sheree.
No problems at all. Look, I guess I just have a few questions that we're going to go through. And so I guess the first cab off the rank is, what are the key benefits that you're finding of using eID for you?
I think that key benefit just comes back to that individual animal traceability, whether it be for my prime lamb operation or for a wool operation, being able to use that data that I collect and improve my business. Also what we've seen in Victoria is by being able to trace that individual animal, we can get up to 99% traceability within the system. So it's great to see from that biosecurity traceability that as Victorian producers, we're right at the top of the list of how good we are at being able to trace those animals.
Yeah, that's incredible. 99%. I think that's a pretty good advertisement for it for the rest of the country. They'll be eagerly watching this webinar once we get it distributed out there for sure. I just wondered as well, can you share a couple of examples with us about how using eID is benefiting the production side of your business?
Yeah, as I touched on briefly a minute ago, the benefits I've found gradually over time is, the ability to identify those higher performing animals, the better genetics within my flock that previously I wouldn't have been able to monitor, or would have been a lot harder to monitor as a commercial breeder, not a stud breeder. So being able to, manage my single twin dry lambs, being able to track them over years and identify those higher performing animals, being able to manage the weight in my prime lambs as they're growing, and being able to take out forward contracts, and knowing with some pretty high certainty that I've noticed in the last couple of years of as they're going through their growth during the springtime, being able to estimate within a week or two of what weights they're going to get to, and being able to forward market them and hopefully hit some good contract prices and benefit my business. Also being able to look back at the treatments that I've given my animals over time and manage drench rotations, withholding periods, all these things on the system. I use True Test system, and these alerts come up as the animals go through my handler that they're still within withholding periods, and I can make sure that I'm not sending animals to market that are within those withholding periods.
Excellent. Right. So basically you can use that data that you're getting to show you all these different pieces of information that can help you plan out what you're doing next, basically.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm by no means at the top of the tree as far as producers go. I've still got a long way to go. But I have realized that, it's in using that data, I've also got an automatic drench gun now that also allows me to drench those animals to a specific weight range. And then having those records in my system makes that system a lot greater, and being able to for that lifetime traceability of that animal. And like I said, the key for me has been the markets and the genetic advances that I've been able to make over time.
Fantastic. So good. Okay, now I guess with anything, there's always challenges. So I was wondering if you could give us a bit of an insight into how you've overcome any challenges that you might have faced, sort of when implementing eID and.
I, yeah, I had to think about this a little bit because it's obviously been over quite a bit of time, and I think I've just adjusted to those challenges as they've come along. I was quite surprised. I thought we might have had issues with tag retention rates and failure of the actual eID tags, but quite surprised that this hasn't been an issue at all. And with the system, as they go through my handler, it automatically it won't let the animal go through the handler unless the eID has been read. So straight away, if there is a tag in the animal and it's not reading that, I know that I need to replace that tag.
Mm.
Obviously, data is key with what we've been gathering now, and being able to manage that data has been one of the challenges, and knowing what data is valuable to my business and what data I perhaps don't need to worry about. So that's a challenge, and that's one of my challenges going forward. The challenge of uploading your stock onto that NLI system for people, that was a challenge for a start. And I'm fortunate enough that through the system I'm using now, and I'm only using the Datamars app that comes with my True Test Weigh equipment, but once my animals are scanned now, I can just download that onto my phone. I press a button at the bottom of the Datamars app, fill in a form, and that automatically uploads all that information and those animals onto my system when I've purchased animals off another pick. So it's made it really easy and really simple to do. So yeah, for a start, that was a struggle when I was doing it myself and it wasn't going through a livestock agent. But yeah, the technology is getting there, and I can see as more and more producers throughout Australia come onto it, a lot of these companies will be coming out with a lot better technology and making it a lot easier. I was chatting to the guys from Gallagher the other week, and they're working on some really simple screens that are really user friendly for farmers, because they can see that there's a lot of people that are going to come into this system that haven't got the technology skills that a lot of others have. And I do rely on my farm worker, Summer, a lot. She does a lot of the technology for me. But yeah, so industry has realised that and are going to be working towards that.
Very good. Yeah, so I guess next, that's sort of leading me into, now that we've got a national rollout of this taking place, can you share any insights into the further possibilities you see flowing from a national rollout of eID?
Yeah, well, obviously that unified system across Australia, so that all of our animals are tagged, it will ensure that those interstate animals coming into Victoria are going to be tagged. It'll help us with our export markets as we open up those new markets overseas. They want to know that traceability of the product. And like I said earlier, that 99% traceability, that's that key, that's that marketability that we're going to have and show that traceability throughout our system. Some other things is potentially hook tracking through the system, through the processor system, which will be great for producers. So I've had a chat to a few of the processors and also our customers, and once we get to that national system, they can see that hook tracking is that next step. So once we get there, then we'll be able to get that individual animal feedback. We'll be able to look at health issues within our flock. And we'll also be able to get that extra genetic gain because we'll be able to see how those higher weight gain animals are actually going through and processing it at the other end as well. And that's going to be great. I can see the whole industry having a leap forward once all of Australia's adopted eID and gone that way and using the genetics to move forward.
Certainly going to be very I mean, I know it's going to be a big change for a lot of producers in the other states in Australia, but you can see the benefits of it. And yeah, you just got to keep coming back to that 99% figure is pretty incredible.
Uh,
Mm,
Yeah, and I think, the producers in the other states, Victoria didn't get there overnight. We've got there gradually, and obviously a lot of producers that are on tonight from Victoria are already doing everything that
mm,
I've been talking about.
yeah.
But yeah, it will get there gradually. Tags in the ear is the first step, and then the rest of it will come along gradually. So, and
Mm.
I'm sure, as I've said, those manufacturers of the readers and weigh scales, etc., will be bringing the producers along and educating them along the way. Yeah, as they
Yeah,
want to
that
make.
kind of leads me to a question. I think I meant to ask it a couple before, so sorry if I've gotten a bit out of order here, Scott. It's just about the infrastructure. Now, obviously, there's, I guess the sky's the limit in terms of what sort of infrastructure you need to get going. And I guess in
That,
Victoria, there's a real variety out there of where people are at. And I get the feeling you've extended your use of it. So I was just, yeah, wondering if you could just sort of take us through infrastructure and what you need to get going and, where you can go if you really want to take it to the next step.
uh, yeah, as I was sort of mentioned, that we started off with the stick reader, just to read basic tag numbers, but I already had a sheep handler in our system on our farm, so a panel reader was the next purchase onto the sheep handler. So all this was done over time. I didn't go out and spend all this money and do it all straight away. Then I realised I wanted to capture a little bit more data, so we upgraded our scale indicator, and that's given us a lot more benefits, as being able to monitor a lot more of our inputs and being able to, like I said earlier, track our drenches, withholding periods, batch numbers, all those key things. So we've already got those on record in the scale indicator, and every animal's got what they've been dosed with against their tag number. Then we went to an auto drench gun, which has saved me a huge amount of money, being able to drench those animals the exact weight they're at. And next, as I mentioned earlier, is farm software. That's the next big one. So, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a big variety there in what you need. And I guess for I know we've got Victorians on this audience tonight, but I have a feeling this webinar may get played out to other states. So just wondering if if you had any advice or thoughts that you could pass on to the other producers around the country that might be that are obviously needing to get started with this. What would any advice you'd give them?
Start off with tags in ears. That's number one. We need all the animals tagged. And then I think have a talk to some of the software companies and the companies who are have got the indicators and the tag readers, and have a chat to them about what they've got that might suit your operation, and then step in at a price point that's comfortable for you as well, and have a think about potentially what you might like to do with your business and where you'd like to take that data in the future. So if you're a prime lamb operation, or if you're a wool operation, what data you want to capture and where you want to take that in the future. So have a bit of a think about that.
Absolutely. Well, I think is there anything you think we've missed, Scott, that we could pass on while we've got everyone here?
No, I'd just like to encourage everybody to have a go at the new EMVD app. I reckon, it's a great way moving forward. I know it may not be perfect at the moment, and encourage any producers as they have a go at it to give some feedback, and so that we can make it usable for everybody and get that uptake within the industry.
Oh, Thank you, Scott. That's lovely. Great to hear you talk about the app. And yes, we're definitely very keen on seeing it used as much as possible. And the feedback, yes, we definitely want that to keep coming as well, because Scott is right. With that feedback, we can help shape it in the way it needs to be.